What is up, YouTube? Bobbles and Ball Cards back with another video. Hope you all are having a wonderful Saturday out there. Hope your weekend has started off well and you had a good end to your week. Today I want to talk about something to kind of attach to the video I did a few days ago about pop reports and do pop reports even matter, and specifically not necessarily the fact does or don't pop reports matter. I want to show some instances of where I was discussing, just because we go and look at a pop report today doesn't mean that's what it reflects for the entire picture, and the amount that could potentially still be out there in existence even though it's not showing up on pop reports. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below. I got some interesting numbers that I have put into a spreadsheet to share with you guys. But let me know your thoughts on this. And yeah, if you haven't yet, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and let's get to it. So I have several different cards that I did, just so I'm not like pinpointing one specific thing. I went across several different years, different players even, and it shows an interesting picture that I want to share with you guys. As here, I have the PSA Pop Report up on the screen. You can see here I have the Juan Soto pulled up, the US 300. That is one card that I am going to start with. I'm not going to pull the pop report up for everything. I've already typed the numbers in to a spreadsheet, but I'm showing you guys I do have them, so you can go back and confirm if you would like. But here's the Juan Soto for PSA. I also did it for BGS. I went through and used the three main companies, PSA, BGS, and I also have SGC up on the screen. So I did go with all three companies that would contain the majority of the population out there. Now, one thing I obviously cannot account for with my numbers and my data is whether or not cards were cracked out. I have no idea how many. I have no idea, what the numbers would look like if we accounted for that. So we're just going to go based off the information given, because that's all we ever are able to do anyway. So, first and foremost, before I get into the numbers, I just want it to be known, this is just information that I find interesting. If you enjoy collecting in the hobby and everything, go at it. Like, don't let these numbers scare you off, but they are interesting. It is interesting data. When people look at things as an investment, which is something that's very largely thrown around in the hobby today, is how cards can be investments. It is something that also needs to be taken note of. So that's why I wanted to share this data with you guys. I don't want it to be something like this glaring image that, hey, stop collecting cards, because I'm not going to stop. I love Juan Soto. I have several of his rookies, these Topps rookies even. And so that isn't the point of this. It's just to kind of put together an image and a picture of what we're really looking at out there, and just kind of have a discussion of, do we really know? Again, it ties into my last pop report video of, when you see a number on a pop report, does it really give you a good image of how much is actually in existence? So keep that in mind as we move forward. All right, so I'm going to go over here to my spreadsheets, and you can see here I have 2018 Topps Update, Juan Soto. I also pulled up Acuna. I pulled up 2019 Tatis, and I pulled up 2020 Luis Robert. So I went across, from 18, 19, and 20, some hot players. That way we're getting a better image. We're also getting multiple years, obviously with grading and that sort of thing, being backlogged and that sort of stuff. This should show us a good picture. Let me adjust that over so y'all can see there. All right, so for Juan Soto, here I have PSA, BGS, SGC, and then I have total. So for the base, I'm showing a total number graded of 35,224. For Acuna, I'm showing 37,533. Then you go to Tatis, it's 35,003. And then for Luis Robert, it's 38,248. So the base numbers are all kind of in the same realm right now, even though we are crossing 3 years. One thing that I do want to note is it would make more sense for Soto and Acuna to have less base out there than Tatis and Luis Robert, based upon the fact Acuna and Soto's 18 update did not contain complete sets and that sort of thing. So in existence, Tatis and Robert should have more base cards because they were part of complete sets for that year. So I want you to keep that in mind. Now, where things get interesting to me is when you come over and look at parallels. This is where the numbers get kind of eye-opening to me. So I pulled up Soto's gold, and I have a total of 761 of those graded. They are numbered out of 2018, obviously, and so if you do the math, it gives you 37.7% of them graded. Again, I don't know if any of those have been cracked out, whatever, but you get the gist. 37.7%. If you look at his Independence Day, I have 24 of those showing up on the pop reports. So those are numbered out of 76, which gives you a number of 31.5%. Key here is Independence and Gold are located in both retail as well as hobby formats. So these numbers are spread across more product. If you go and look at the blacks, which are numbered out of 67, I show that 50 black Juan Sotos have been graded for 74.6%. Now, again, some of these BGSs could have flipped over to the PSAs, vice versa. I don't know, but I'm going off the numbers given and showing there's 50 of them out of the 67 graded, which gives us a number of 74.6. So these are hobby and hobby jumbo only. I do have it pulled up here so you can see and confirm that. Blacks out of 67 are hobby and jumbo. So those are contained specifically to hobby products, and we know that, okay, those are not elsewhere. Those are not going to be in the retail products. Those are constricted specifically for hobby product. So that gives us a better image for hobby. You know, if this number is accurate and these numbers don't like drop down to, you know, 35 or something instead of 50, then we would know roughly 75% of the blacks have been pulled and also have been graded. So let's go down here and look at Acuna because he is a similar example. His golds, there's 797 out of the 2018 of them that are showing up for a total number of 39.4%. His Independence Day, however, has 40. Soto's only had 24. So his Independence Days are showing at 52.6. But interestingly enough, even though he is 21% higher on Independence Day, he's almost 20% lower on the blacks, as there's only 37 blacks showing in the pop report. So that I found kind of interesting. That more of the Independence Day for Acuna had popped out and been graded, but the blacks, less of Acuna's have been graded. So that one I found kind of interesting. All right, so what that's telling us is, well, let me go on further and go ahead and down to Tatis. So we have 35,000 currently base Tatis graded. His golds, I'm showing 767, lining right up, interesting enough, with Soto and Acuna. And his number, these are obviously out of 2019, so that pushes his percentage graded to 37.9%. Now his Independence Day, on the other hand, it's way up. There's been 51 of those graded, and that pushes that number to 67.1. Again, I don't know if any of these have been cracked out or anything. It's just the numbers that I'm being able to read. And then, of course, blacks, he's up even, you know, he's kind of splitting the Acuna and Soto numbers at 64.1%. So kind of a mirrored image outside of the Independence Days being higher. His blacks are right in between Acuna and Soto. His golds are right in line. Independence Day, that one's like, that's kind of higher. But again, it could be just crackouts or something. I don't know. But it's just something interesting. So we go down here to Robert. Obviously, Robert is the newest of these guys out of 2020. But he, interestingly enough, and again, it's no surprise, there was a ton of sets out there. The hobby grew. That's another thing. These numbers are interesting to see. So something you have to keep in mind. In 2018, the retail products were not bought like they are today. The retail products would sit on the shelves. The distributors would create clearance boxes. They would toss them in clearance boxes trying to get rid of them. And obviously we've seen some of these products popping up at Walgreens and this, that, and the other with mixed packs in them, where distributors would take packs and, make these little repack products with 3, 4, 5 packs in them. And so some of them were even allocated to that, trying to get rid of the product. The hobby was not go to Walmart, Target, wipe out the shelves, and they would restock the next week and it would get wiped out again. No, the product would sit there because hobby boxes were not astronomically expensive. So people that wanted product, they could go to their hobby shop and pick up hobby boxes and spend, $80 on a hobby box versus going to Walmart and buying 4 blasters for $80. So it was kind of like the retail was more for your lower budgeted, maybe a kid or something, got his allowance, he wanted to go get some packs. Somebody didn't have a hobby shop close to them, but they did have a Walmart, so it was a convenience thing, that sort of thing. It's not like today where even, we're seeing the production numbers raise extremely high, but you go to the store and it's still sometimes difficult to find product. We're looking at it as the hobby's adjusting because when we do go, we can find product. Reality is there's just more product being made. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at numbers on things. So on Robert, again, 2020 happened. More people in the hobby. People were buying him up. He was hyped. Grading was like getting flooded. So we're seeing higher number of his base cards. There's 38,248 of them. Now, I would think that would kick over into the other parallels. However, and this could be a matter of maybe some of the other grading companies started up. I didn't go look at CSG and HGA and all those guys. I just kept it simple with PSA, BGS, SGC, the ones that would show a better, bigger picture. But for his golds, I'm showing 526 of them have already been graded with a percentage of 26.05. His Independence Days, I'm showing 40, which is 52.6, which is spot on the same as Acuna. And then his blacks, I'm showing 41 of those. So again, outside of this 50 for Soto, it's lining right up with Acuna, Tatis, and Robert. Now, the interesting key is again, these guys are across 3 years, and their numbers are lining up pretty close together with the same thing. Outside of Robert's golds and Soto's black, the numbers are somewhat similar here across 3 years of product. So what this had me thinking is, let's say that there's been 50% of the golds pulled, but it's just not showing up on the pop reports. Does that mean that 50% more base are out there? Oh, I mean, obviously these two, I would assume there's going to be way more than that. But these here, could that put us into the realm of 75 to 100,000 Juan Soto and Ronald Acuna base out there? Could that be a realistic number? And the question for that is, I get people say, well, these guys are great, and they are. Soto and Acuna are great players. But we talk about collecting so much. And again, if there is 100,000 of them out there in total, and we're looking at 30-some thousand, 35% of them roughly graded already, with more most likely to come, and then we go on eBay, and I have Soto pulled up here, and I did this as a simple search, 2018 Topps Update Juan Soto US 300. I selected the 3 major companies, the ones that I did the reports for. And, you know, obviously when you scroll through here, you're going to see a couple parallels, you know, arise. But for the most part, like there's a gold. But for the most part, this is all just the 2018 Topps Update base. And when you do a search such as simple as this, you're getting 550 results just on eBay alone. And you might say, well, Bobbles, that's not a lot. 550 isn't a big number. When you're looking at the aspect that if we double that, that would put it at 1,100 sitting on eBay at any time. And just, they're always available. Will the value of these in the future, if that number doubled, would it sustain? If we were up to 1,100 results right now on eBay at any given moment, because like, I don't know, this could be low right now, but at any given moment, and this is only the graded copies, this isn't even the raw copies, this is only the graded copies, will the numbers sustain? That's the key that I want to, folks to think about. The other part is, are the other 50% just stashed in warehouses? Is it sealed wax that never got out to consumer? Or is it sealed wax because wax prices went up too high that people weren't buying it? And then when you have the cards on the market and the cards don't dictate the value to purchase, to open and risk a $1,000 box of wax, they'll stay, relatively sealed to contain the population of the cards. So it's just some things to think about there. And which direction has it gone in? Is it sealed wax? Is it just they're pulled but they're not graded? That's the unknown. So I have a few bonus ones here outside of these guys. I also took a look at the Bat Down Acuna. That's a card that interests me. This is just something for my own thought. The Bat Down Acuna right now is, I believe, over $2,000 and a 10. What interests me is the All-Star Stamp Complete Set card has only been graded 415 times versus over 2,800 for the Bat Down. Again, this ties back into the pop report, and people say they're always chasing low pop stuff. You're looking at a 2,400 count different here. And if low pop actually mattered, then this card would far exceed this card. However, it's not even close. This card is actually cheaper than probably buying the base. And that's something else that I wanted to tie into with the low pop doesn't always matter, because there are things out there that are lower printed. And if this talk happens a lot with, well, if we get back into a junk era, what's going to happen? Well, something in my mind has been knowing the 80s and knowing the 90s and looking back on those cards, what has retained value? And that would be the Topps Tiffany sets. And people today look at a complete set variation, such as an All-Star Stamp, and they are like discounting the value of it so heavily because it's not pack pulled. I guess people forget that the Topps Tiffany sets were a complete set. And those are the cards from the OG junk era that people want. So just something to keep in mind here. You might say, oh, but it's a complete set. Well, look at history. Complete set cards have done very, very, very well for themselves. So something to think about there, especially when you're looking at something like this. But I do have some bonuses here. I pulled up Trout for shits and giggles. Trout base has been graded in the reports 18,424 times. Coincidentally, his golds actually are lining up with these. It's kind of interesting to note. 2011 of them, and there have been 610 showing on Pop Reports for a 30.3% graded total. I don't know if that means there's still a ton of 2011 update sealed wax out there, or if people just didn't care about Mike Trout in 2011 and they tossed them away, or those people from 2011 just are no longer in the hobby and those cards are in boxes. Who knows? When you're shopping like yard sales and stuff like that, maybe look and see if there's boxes of cards that have 2011 Topps update in them. You might find a Mike Trout gold. Who knows? There was no Independence Day in 2011 update. And the blacks also, I notated here, had a different serial number of 60. There was a total of 39. Or did I do that wrong? Let's see, 10 and 19. I did do that wrong. That should be 29. So, let's see, 29 divided by 60 is 48.3%. I apologize, I typed the wrong thing there. So this should be 29. There we go. That's why we can edit. All right, so there's 48.3% of the blacks. There's 29 showing on the Pop Report. So that's another interesting number. It means that based off of population, just over 50% of the black parallels should still be in existence for Trout. You know, do we know? Who knows? It could be sealed. They could be pulled. And then I pulled up one of the hottest players of the past 2 years was Vlad. His most common popular card out there is that 2019 no number quote-unquote short print. If you look at the numbers here, 2847 on Acuna's Bat Down Series 2 short print, we get into 2019 and holy hell, Topps said nope, we're up in the number. There have been 10,383 of those graded already. Coincidentally enough, if you look at it, down here, his update base has only been graded 6,658 times. So his update base card is actually currently lower populated than his short print. I mean, I don't know how that makes sense, but yes, his update base has been graded less times than his short print. I'll say that again. For the golds, they're showing 537 from the update, 26.5%. Independence Day, I'm showing 27 for a 35.5%. Black, I'm showing there have been 34 for 50.7% of the blacks. And then if you want to go and look at his update short print, the pointing variation, I'm showing only 370 of those have been graded. So over 10,000 less of his update short print have been done versus his Series 2 no number short print. So something to keep in mind. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know this video is a little bit longer. I know it's a bunch of numbers and percentages and that sort of thing. And what ifs, you know, what if, how many have been cracked? What if, are they sealed? What if, are they in the wild raw? We don't know, but these numbers tie in with, do pop reports and low pop numbers really matter? Because when you're looking deeper into how many parallels have been done and correlate that over to the base side of things, base numbers are actually probably much, much, much larger than we even realize. So, something to think about. Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and stuck around. Subscribe if you haven't. I hope you all have a wonderful Saturday. And as always, stay safe, stay healthy, and until the next video, I am out.